There's a moment in life that almost no one prepares you for. The moment when you look at everything around you and you quietly think, if God is real, why does my life look like this? Not the life you show people, not the version of you that smiles and says, I'm fine. The life behind closed doors, the life in your chest at 2 a.m., the life that feels like it's falling apart while heaven feels silent. Have you ever prayed until you had no more words and still nothing changed? Have you ever wondered in a voice you'd never say out loud in church, God, where were you when I needed you most? If you have, this is for you. Not to fix you, not to argue with you, not to tell you to just have more faith. This is for the version of you that feels tired, disappointed, spiritually numb. The you who still believes in God somewhere, but feels, in all honesty, abandoned. So let's slow down. Just you and these words. For a little while. Imagine it's late. The house is quiet. The notifications have finally stopped. You're alone with your thoughts. And that's the part you dread the most. Because when everything gets quiet, the questions get louder. You've tried to do things right. You've tried to be kind. You've tried to follow what you thought God wanted. And yet, the marriage still broke. The diagnosis still came. The job still ended. The loneliness still settled in your chest like a weight you can't shake. You prayed, you begged, you made promises in the dark that no one else knows about. Please, God, just this once. Please show up. Please fix this. And then, nothing. No miracle. No sign. No obvious intervention. Just silence. And that silence hurt more than the situation itself. Because it wasn't just pain. It felt personal. It felt like being ignored by the one who was supposed to never leave you. Maybe you found yourself angry. Angry at God in a way you're almost ashamed to admit. Angry that you tried so hard and still ended up here. Angry that people who don't even care about God seem to be doing better than you. Angry that the same God who could have stopped all of this didn't. You're allowed to feel that. You're allowed to say, I don't understand you. You're allowed to sit in the messy, unpolished truth of your heart without editing it to sound more spiritual. Maybe you're not even angry anymore. Maybe you've moved past that into something colder, numb. You still bow your head when others pray. You still say, thank God sometimes. But inside, you feel distance. Like a friend who slowly stopped calling until one day you realized you don't really talk anymore. When people say, just trust God, you nod, because you know the line. But there's a part of you that thinks, I did trust him, and look where it got me. If that's you, you're not broken beyond repair. You're a human being who has been hurt in the deepest place a person can be hurt. The place where you believed you were safe with God. Let's sit there for a moment, in that raw, aching space between you and the silence. Why does it hurt so much when God seems absent? Because this isn't like being disappointed by a friend. This is the one you built your hope around, the one you thought would catch you even if everyone else let you fall. So when the fall comes anyway, it feels like the ground itself betrayed you. It's like walking through a familiar house and suddenly every light turns off. You know the rooms, you know the layout. You can picture the couch, the table, the doors. But now, you can't see anything. You reach out your hand and feel nothing but air. Every step feels risky. Every movement could send you crashing into something you can't see. That's what God's silence can feel like. The same life, the same beliefs, but suddenly all the light is gone. You keep praying, but it feels like talking to a locked door. You knock. You wait. You press your ear against it, hoping for any sound. But all you hear is the echo of your own voice bouncing back. Sometimes it feels like winter, a long, bitter season where everything familiar is stripped away. Trees that once felt alive stand bare and cold. You look at your own heart and think, I used to feel something. Where did it go? It's hard when people try to cheer you up with quick answers. God has a plan. Everything happens for a reason. Just trust. Just believe. Just hold on. You know they mean well. But their words land on your chest like paper on stone. Because when your life feels like a storm, you don't need someone to tell you the storm isn't real. You need someone to sit with you in the middle of the wind and rain and say, I see how hard this is. You're not crazy for feeling what you feel. The hardest part about God's silence is that He doesn't explain Himself. He doesn't send a note that says, this will make sense in 3 years. Here's exactly what I'm doing. He doesn't always rush in to rescue the way you imagined. And so you're left in this in-between place, not ready to walk away from God, not sure how to fully trust Him either, stuck in a kind of spiritual desert, dry, empty, worn out. The desert is a painful place, but it is also an honest place. In the desert, you can't pretend. You can't run on momentum. You feel your thirst. You feel your questions. You feel the places where your faith was built more on habits and expectations than on something deeper. And none of that makes your pain less real. But it does mean that even here, in this hard, lonely space, something is still happening, even if you can't see it yet. Hope can feel like a dangerous word when you've been disappointed. You might flinch a little when someone brings it up, because you know what it's like to get your hopes up and have them shattered. So I'm not here to hand you easy hope. No promises that everything will work out how you want. No guarantees that your pain will suddenly make sense or disappear. What I want to talk about is a quieter kind of hope. Not built on outcomes, not built on getting what you prayed for. A hope built on presence. Think again about that dark room. You still can't see. You still don't know where the furniture is. The difference now is not that the light suddenly comes on. The difference is that someone is in the dark with you. They don't rush you. They don't push you to move. They just sit there, close enough that if you reach out your hand, you can touch theirs. The room is still dark, but you are no longer alone in it. That's the kind of hope I'm talking about. Not the hope that promises you a specific future, but the hope that whispers, even here, in this confusing, painful place, you are not unseen. It may not feel like it. I know. Your feelings are not wrong. You feel what you feel for a reason. But feelings, as real as they are not the whole story. There is a reality that exists whether you sense it or not, like the sun on a cloudy day. You don't see it. You don't feel the warmth on your skin. But somewhere beyond the gray and the fog, it is still there. You might be in a long winter of the soul. The trees look dead. The ground feels hard. The sky seems always heavy. But winter is not the end of the story for the tree. Deep beneath the frozen soil, roots are still alive. Slowly, quietly, they are holding on. You don't stand in winter and shout at the tree, bloom now or you're failing. You understand that some seasons are for surviving, not thriving. Maybe this is that kind of season for you. A season where your greatest act of faith is simply not walking away. Where you let yourself sit in the tension without forcing yourself to feel better than you actually do. And in that space, maybe, just maybe, God is nearer than you think. Not in the way you expected. Not always with fireworks or miracles, but with a kind of closeness that does not depend on your feelings. A closeness that has been there in every tear, every sleepless night, every whispered, "Where are you?" You may feel abandoned, but feeling abandoned and being abandoned are not the same thing. One is your experience. The other is reality bigger than your experience. If your faith right now is nothing more than a tiny, tired thought that says, "God, if you're still here, please don't let go of me," that is enough. You do not need a loud, confident faith to be held. You just need a cracked open heart that hasn't slammed the door completely shut. As we come to the end of these minutes together, I don't want to tie this up with a neat bow, because your life is not a neat bow right now. I don't know how your story will unfold. I don't know when the storm will pass, or the winter will thaw, or the answers will come. But I do know this: you are not strange for feeling what you feel. You are not faithless for having questions. You are not invisible in your pain. Right now, where you are, take a slow breath, in and out. Let your shoulders drop just a little. Let your jaw unclench. For this moment, you don't have to perform for God. You don't have to impress Him. You don't have to protect Him from your disappointment. You can simply be the honest version of yourself, the one who says, "I feel abandoned, and I don't know what to do with that." What if, instead of running from that sentence, you let it sit in the air between you and God, and see what happens if you don't walk away? You don't have to fix yourself before you are worthy of being held. You don't have to understand this season before you are allowed to rest for a moment in it. So here is the soft, open question I want to leave with you. In this very real pain, in this confusion, in this feeling of being abandoned, are you willing to stay just a little longer, with your heart slightly open to the possibility that even here, especially here, you are not as alone as you feel? You don't have to answer out loud. Just let the question rest with you. And as you move back into the noise of your life, remember that it is okay to be exactly where you are right now. You are allowed to take this one breath, 1 hour, one fragile moment at a time.